Our family's at the stage of life where not everyone is home as often as they used to be. It kind of happens when some of your kids start going off to college. Some of you know that. Some of you are experiencing that right now. Some of you are about to experience that. And some of you, well, you already experienced that. That the people that you love just aren't right in front of you as often as they used to be. Which makes weekends like this past one, especially the one that was for us, especially meaningful for our family. Everybody in our family was home for slightly less than 24 hours, but it was a wonderful slightly less than 24 hours. We savored every moment of it with the family right here at home. We could all see each other, laugh together, and have a great time. Those moments are pretty special, but then everybody, they went their own way, and they had to do their own thing, and we're so grateful to God for all the things that they're able to do, but it's hard when the people that you love aren't right there in front of you. And of course, kids going off to college and doing their own thing as they grow, it's not the only time in life that the people that you love aren't right there in front of you. For some of you, they haven't been in front of you for a long time. They moved away to a place where you don't get to see them in person very often. Or maybe they passed away. And it's been a short time or maybe a long time since you've been able to give them a hug or tell them face to face how much you love them. It's why I think the promise in Deuteronomy chapter 30 might have been so meaningful for the people of Israel. For a variety of reasons, the people of Israel, even though the whole nation was traveling through the wilderness to the promised land, God knew that some of them were going to be scattered over the course of the 40 years, and as they were getting into the promised land, and after they got into the promised land, and in Deuteronomy chapter 30, he passed along the message that the Lord was going to have compassion on them and bring them all back together again. That was the promise for Israel, a very specific promise that applied to their promised land, but it also immediately reminds me, and maybe you too, of the wonderful promise that we get to live with, that God will do the same thing for us and our promised land, the promised land of eternity that Jesus already won for us. God's promise that one day his whole family will be together again in a place where we'll never have to say goodbye. We'll be able to hug to our heart's content, and it'll be nothing but pure and perfect joy. That's something to look forward to. But there was another sweet aspect of that promise. If you go back one chapter in Deuteronomy chapter 29, the Lord described just how challenging their journey had been. They had enemies, there were temptations that were going to snag them from time to time, and just a lot of things that were going to test their faith. And so there were going to be times that they looked at the people that they love and they were going to see their faith, well, kind of weak. They were going to see the people they love fall into temptation. They were going to see the people they love kind of get overwhelmed with everything that life was doing to them. And maybe that's happening with people you love right now too. And you're not sad about the people that you love because they're not here in front of you, but you're sad as you think about the people that you love because, well, you wonder if this world is going to be a little bit too much for them. If the temptations that are snagging them or have snagged them are just going to get the best of them, or if the troubles that they're going through, if it just seems to be all overwhelming, it's just too overwhelming for them. Then the first part of that promise is especially comforting. The promise that the Lord was going to have compassion. He obviously knew the troubles that Israel was facing. He knew the challenges, he knew the temptations, he would see their weakness. And he promised he was going to have compassion. He promised he was not going to forget about them. Just as he will never forget about the people that you love. He knows where they are. He knows how they struggle. He knows what they're going through. Even if they don't immediately recognize any of those things or all of those things, God knows. And he allows us to find our comfort in his promise that he will always act with his greatest compassion. And he certainly knows how to lead all of us home to our promised land. Rest well tonight, my friends.